What's goody? Hey man, listen, we are back again with another video. And last video we talked, well, not last video, but 2 videos ago, what we did before I went on my whole rant about the NBA refs and everything was my 3 most disappointing NBA teams so far this season. Well, today I'm hitting y'all with my 3 most surprising slash surprisingly outstanding teams. Like, these are the teams that have shocked me with how well they've played this year. It's literally just the exact opposite of the list I made last in that video. And to start this video off, we have to talk about a team that I think everybody expects to be on this list, the Houston Rockets. This is a team that I predicted to be the 11th seed. I thought they would miss the playoffs again, I think, or I had them as like the 10th seed. I might have dropped the Clippers out. I'm not 100% sure what I had in my predictions. I'll have to go back and watch that at the end of the year when I'm seeing how my predictions age and everything like that. We'll see. But I predicted them to either be like the 10 seed or to barely miss the playoffs. And this is a team that's sitting 10 games above 500, and they're the 3 seed in the West as we speak. Ime is a phenomenal coach, and I've been saying that I never really thought he deserved to lose his job in Boston if that was a consensual relationship. Now, I don't remember all the details of it, but from what I remember, that was a consensual relationship, so I didn't really understand why he was fired for that. But anyways, I'm not about to get into all that. He's a phenomenal coach. He's been doing a great job with his young core. The defensive culture that he's put in, that he's instilled into this team, it has been phenomenal. He's been doing his thing. The offense is good. And the thing about this team is that it's not like they have like just one guy that's been phenomenal. Like Alp, if they have an all-star, it's going to be him. Don't get me wrong, but it's like Jalen Green hasn't had the leap that I was expecting Jalen Green to take. He hasn't been the #1 guy in that 2020 class that I was expecting when he came out of the G League Ignite. I thought he was the #1 pick over Cade. Obviously, I've been wrong, but I like what they're doing with that team. I like the Fred VanVleet vet minutes. I like the Amen Thompson and Tari Easton's hurt right now, but I like when those 2 minutes, those 2 guys coming off the bench are phenomenal. Like, when those 2 guys come off the bench, it changes completely everything for this team. You got Jabari, who's kind of like the odd man out right now. I think if they do make a splash, which I don't think they should do this year, but eventually if they do make a splash, I could see guys like Jabari and Jalen Green and Dillon Brooks also being in that type of package just for if they do go out there and try to get like a superstar player within the next few years. I just think this is a really good team. I think this is a team that has a whole lot of potential. And the one thing that I want to say with this team is that I'm not with the idea that that people are trying to say that, like, oh, the Rockets try to make a big splash, try to get the Jimmy Butler, the KD, whatever, blah, 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 whatever, whoever's going to be available. I'm not with that. I think OKC is a team that needs to make moves. I think they need to try to look at guys like Cam Johnson. They need to look at whoever's on the market that can really do some things for them, right? I think OKC needs to make some small moves to get themselves better. Because OKC is a team that was like, okay, Houston doesn't have a Shea. Please understand what I'm about to say. Houston does not have a Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, but these 2 teams are kind of like similar, but just in different stages, where OKC's ahead of Houston. OKC's a team where we saw them in the playoffs, but now we're like, okay, we think you're the best team in the West again for the 2nd year in a row. Can you really show us that? Can you really do something with it? Because now the expectations there, were last year there wasn't an expectation for that. This year the expectation's there. That's how it is for Houston. Houston's out here hooping when nobody had the expectation for them to be this good, and it's like, you don't blow that young core up. You have time. It's not like you have to make a move right now. It's not like you guys have something that's pressing you to make a move right now. I think Houston should wait. I think they should see what they have. This is a super young team. This is the team that has guys that are going to be valuable to other teams, like a Cam Whitmore, who had a phenomenal rookie season and has barely played this year. He's a guy that could be valuable to other teams because he just needs to be in a different situation where I believe he can really thrive. But I don't think Houston should make a move this year. I think they're doing phenomenal. I think Ime Udoka is a top 3 candidate for Coach of the Year. I think the 3 coaches on these 3 teams that I'm about to give y'all are the top 3 candidates for Coach of the Year. And I think for me personally, the coach of the last team is the Coach of the Year, which I'll talk about in a second. But the second team is another team out west, the Memphis Grizzlies. Bro, Memphis is a team that the reason that they're not as surprising to me as the Rockets, even though they are 1 seed higher than the Rockets out west, is because I expected Memphis to be like a playoff playing team. I thought Memphis would be a team that would come out here as a fully healthy team and would make the playoffs. I didn't expect that for Houston the way that I expected that for Memphis, and I've also seen more from Memphis in the past than I've seen from Houston in the past, so that's why my expectations were a little bit higher. But they have exceeded them, far, far, far exceeded them. I expected them to be a playoff play-in team. Like I said, I don't remember exactly what it was, but I expected that. They're currently sitting as the 2 seed out west. Jaren Jackson, been phenomenal this year. He's arguably been their best player, and to me, if they're going to have just one all-star, I think it low-key could be him over Ja. I don't know that the fans are going to agree. I don't know if the fan vote is going to agree, but I believe that like media and coaches could agree with me. But no matter what, bro, this is a team that literally has a 15-man roster that's all real NBA players. And there's really not another team in the league that can really say that. This team has guys that are like at the end of the bench that aren't getting minutes that are real NBA players, which is why they're able to run like a bigger rotation, which is why when they do have injuries, they're able to have guys come and fill in because they just have, like, Jay Huff. Like, who was expecting this from Jay Huff? You know what I'm saying? Like, nobody was expecting these guys to go out here and hoop, and they've been phenomenal. Zach Edey was out there throwing Draymond around the other day when they beat the Warriors by 50, and Draymond and Curry didn't hit a shot. Literally didn't hit a shot the whole game. But yeah, man, this team is amazing. They haven't beaten a ton of good teams yet, though. They've beaten the Celtics, but they haven't beaten a ton of good teams. They haven't had a stretch of games where it's like, ooh, they played some really good teams. Like, they beat the Bucks, but that was earlier in the season when the Bucks were ass. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if their schedule gets harder, which I'm not sure if it does, let me just go ahead and look, actually. Let me go look at the Grizzlies schedule. Let's see if it gets harder in the second half of the season before I say what I'm about to say, because I don't want to throw unnecessary hate on them or, like, criticism on them if their schedule doesn't get any harder over the second half of the season. So, I know tonight they've got the Clippers, and then OKC, they have some tough stretches coming up. They've got OKC, they've got Phoenix not back-to-back nights, but back-to-back games, and Phoenix has KD back. Then they've got Dallas, Houston, Minnesota, Houston, San Antonio, Minnesota. That's like a 7-game stretch of tough games that they could lose any one of those games. New York, Houston, Milwaukee, San Antonio, those 4 back-to-back, and then they go Oklahoma City, Phoenix, and then I'm seeing Cleveland, Phoenix, New York. Yeah, so their schedule does get tougher. So I'm going to say what I was going to say. With this schedule getting tougher over the second half of the season, do not be surprised if this is a team that does fall in the standings. I think that the Rockets can do the same thing, even though I think the Rockets, I didn't really look at their strength of schedule yet or anything like that, but I think that I looked at the Grizzlies' wins, and I was looking at them because I was like, I don't remember this team. Like, I don't remember watching the Grizzlies play a super tough schedule or anything. Like, I've seen them play the Warriors a few times. I've watched some of their games, don't get me wrong. But it was like I wanted to see what the competition they had played against was, and it wasn't great. I didn't do that same looking for the Rockets, so maybe that is something where I should do that, and I probably should, and I'm definitely going to do that. But all I'm saying is the Grizzlies have far exceeded my expectations, and they very well could finish as the top 2, top 3, top 4 seed in the West. But don't be surprised if they fall, because that schedule does get harder, like I just told y'all. I should have showed you it, but like I just told y'all, it does get more difficult. My final team, my third and final team that I think has absolutely done phenomenal this season, even above my expectations, somehow, is the Cleveland Cavaliers. Bro, the reason I said somehow is because this is a team that I predicted to be a 50-win team. I just didn't expect them to be the 1 seed and sitting 2.5 games above the Celtics through 30 games. This is a team that has, lost 4 or 5 games so far this season? Like, what? I expected the Grizzlies, like I said, not the Grizzlies, the Cavs. 50-win team. I thought the Cavs were going to be one of those teams where it's like, okay, you've got the Celtics, and then you've got those teams that are going to be fighting for the next seeds are going to be like actually, I didn't even have them in that tier, low-key. I think I had them in, like, the tier below, or, like, they were right on that tier with the, no, because I had them on, like, the same tier as the Bucks. So I would say I had the Celtics, and then I had, like, Knicks, Sixers, Bucks, Cavs is my next 4 teams in the East. Well, the Cavs are the 1 seed sitting at a 25-4 record, 2.5 games above the Celtics. They've won 86% of their games. They're 16-1 at home. Their point differential is the best is 0.1 behind OKC. So it's the second best in the league. It's the best in the East. They're disgusting. They're so good. Their offense is the best in the East, averaging 121.7 points per game. Their defense is good. It's not as great as like last year's was, but they literally have the best offense in the East, and not just the best offense in the East. They have the best scoring offense in the league, except for Memphis. Memphis averages 123 points. They average 121. And I would take Cleveland's offense over Memphis's more often than not. You know what I'm saying? Like, especially if they were going up in a head-to-head game and everything like that. Like, this team is absolutely disgusting. That's Kenny Atkinson to me. Like I said, this is the guy that's coach of the year. Like I said, I think it's between these 3 coaches: Ime Udoka, Taylor Jenkins. I think Mark Dayton is going to get some love in there. Joe Mazzulla is probably going to get some love in there, and then Kenny Atkinson. To me, it's Kenny Atkinson because this is a team that won 50 games last year. Don't get me wrong, but the difference between the Kenny Atkinson Cavs and the JB Bickerstaff Cavs is night and day. This is a different team. I think literally everyone on the team is doing their job, like that you expect to be doing their job, that has a significant job. Twin Towers are getting great defense and rebounding, and Emo is out here averaging 19 points per game as their 3rd leading scorer, and he's not far behind Darius Garland, who's averaging 20 with 6 assists. And then you got Donovan Mitchell averaging 24, 5, and 5, and you've got Jared Allen averaging like 11 boards per game. What more can you ask for from your big 4 guys? Like, what more can you ask for? They are doing phenomenal stuff over there in Cleveland. This is a team that I'm interested to see how good they really are come playoff time, but they've beaten the Celtics. Like, they've beaten some good teams. They've proven that they are a really, really good team. I just want to see how this team looks in the playoffs because we just never know. You know what I'm saying? Like, when it's a team that's overperforming to this extent, you never know how real it is until they're really in the playoffs. So I do want to see that. But this is a team that's impressed me. Like, they haven't shown me many things where it's like, ooh, I think they could be frauds. they really haven't shown me too much of that. So Cleveland's going to be a tough team to watch out for in that East, man. But let me know what y'all think. Let me know what teams I left off. Let me know if y'all disagree with any of the teams I put on. And let me know what teams have really shocked y'all that I just didn't give too much mention to. Because there have been some other teams that have been, you know what I'm saying, pretty impressive as well. But there have been, most of the teams have been the opposite. Like, most of the teams have shocked me in a bad way. So, you know what I'm saying? We'll see. But I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. It helps me out a ton. All right? Love y'all.